Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good evening so far. We have got Chaos Head Noah tonight. Um, Yesterday, we saw Takumi fight his way through 100 Seiras who had come to life and attacked him. Takumi insisted that they were not the real Seiras. But basically, I think he was able to kind of delude his way into banishing them all back to the 2D realm. And that's how he managed to get past all of the Seiras. So, I think with that done, I think he's going to be able to reach Noah 2 now. I don't know if Norose had any other plans or anything else he can throw at Takumi at this point. But yeah, we are basically heading for the I guess the climactic fight. I'm not sure if Norose is actually going to try and fight Takumi himself or what, but yeah, I mean this is the climax now to this visual novel. Takumi destroys Noah 2, and he basically puts an end to all of the earthquakes and an end to anybody's hopes of being able to brainwash people around the world into doing whatever they want. So yeah, I mean, I stopped right after the fight with the Seiras had ended, so we're gonna continue right after that. Inside an old building near Shibuya Station's east entrance. The rest of the buildings were either partially or completely destroyed. But this one wasn't. On its roof was a planetarium, one which had closed several years earlier. I headed up the empty stairwell, gasping for breath, and went through the deathly quiet lobby into the planetarium itself. I gasped when I saw the huge device inside. The awe-inspiring sight of Noah 2, a chill that threatened to steal away my body's warmth, and next to it, a bizarre object that felt like some kind of artwork.
Rimi.
It was shaped something like a cross, and Rimi was bound to it. She slowly looked up when she heard my voice. Our eyes met. Her eyes went wide.
どうして。どうして。君を助けに。
Her eyes went wide. I think we just said that, right? Yeah, we literally just said that.
バカ。
She shook her head sadly.
そんなキスだらけになって、そんな無茶して、待っててって言ったのに、なんで。
Because I love you. Because I love you, Remy. But I couldn't say that. Covered in blood with one arm crushed, I couldn't tell her I'd come to save her because I loved her. I was nowhere near being a knight in shining armor, and she'd probably think I was creepy anyway. I was basically a stalker, right? Even if I told her how I felt, it would just be a nuisance to her. After this, she was going to live out the rest of her life. After this, I was going to die. Telling her how I felt would only give her bad memories. So instead, I said something else.
意味にこれを返したくて。
What's up, Ox? How you doing? We're just like 3 minutes into this. Takumi has reached Noah 2. Or at least he's reached the planetarium where Noah 2 is. I could barely move my right hand, the one with the D-sword strapped to it. I struggled and strained to move my fingers, pulling a handkerchief from my pocket. It was a soft red. I couldn't tell if it was that shade of red to begin with, or if it was stained with my blood. He wasn't gonna tell her that he's in love with her. It was the handkerchief Remy had given to me. It didn't smell like flowers anymore.
僕は君をここから助け出してノア2を壊してこのハンカチを返すんだ。
That was all I could do, and once that was done, I'd have no regrets when I disappeared. And honestly, I didn't think I could do anything more than that. All my senses felt like they were going numb. Maybe the pain was so bad that my brain had shut off sensation from some of my nerves. I could barely move my body. More and more blood poured from my arm. My eyes were blurry. I felt so cold, like I might pass out the second I let my guard down. A tall man, Genichi Norose, stepped out from behind the shadow of Noah 2. He was clapping, but there was no expression on his face.
しかし、致命的なことが一つあります。行動原理が感情に根ざしているということです。それは野蛮人のすることだ。
I couldn't really understand what he was saying. It was all I could do to process the pain. I couldn't deal with any words except Remy's.
逃げて。
小を犠牲にして大の利益を守る。
Hey, what's up, Zane? How you doing?
それを悪だと思いますか？私はそうは思いません。このままでは人類はいずれ滅び去る。一 人の欲望によってです。あまりにも醜い心、あまりに利己的な欲望の洪水。人の社会はすでに破綻し、腐り落ちようとしています。誰もが己のことしか考えず、その結果殺し合い、奪い合っています。君もギガロマニアックスとして覚醒したのなら見たはずですよ。人の心の本質を。
Wait, isn't Fuawa's birthday today? I thought I was watching her birthday thing this morning.
「私は幼い頃に覚醒したため、もう何十年という間それを見てきた。
Yeah, you missed the weirdest anime fight probably of all time. Yeah, I saw Mokoko was streaming. I watched like the very beginning of it for a few minutes, but
300人委員会は人類の自滅を阻止するためという大義名分のもと、世界人間牧場計画を推し進めてきました。けれどそれも所詮彼らのエゴを満たすものでしかない。
Well, there's not really a whole lot. It's just like, after Takumi was told the location of Noah 2, he went through this like, I guess it was like a train tunnel or something, and then like while he was walking through there, he saw like a Seiras figure like lying on the ground, and then it like turned into like an actual like person Seiras, and then they morphed into like 100 Seiras, and then they all like attacked Takumi. I think that Seira attack thing was something that this guy right here, Norose, concocted to try and stop Takumi from pursuing him. And yeah, it was just a really weird fight. Like they kept even when like even when Takumi was like bashing them in and cutting them up and shit, they were still saying shit like they were still going like, "Oh, you're such a man, Takumi," and all this shit. I don't know. They're like, "Oh, I love the way you're so aggressive," and yeah, and then but then like eventually their attacks like got to Takumi, and he got like really badly injured. Like they fucked one of his arms completely up. It's like totally crushed and broken, and I think what is it, like his ankle or his leg is messed up too or something. Yeah, Yeah, and then there was also a scene where Norose was talking to a couple of the guys on the committee of 300, and he was all acting like he was on their side and shit, and he told Noah 2 to um like have guns appear in their hands, so all of a sudden just like both of them acquired guns out of nothing. And but then Norose, when he started talking shit, like I don't know, I think he was telling him like they shouldn't inform the other people about Noah 2 or something. They like turned on him and pointed their guns, but then like when they actually shot each other, because the real Norose made them look like Norose to each other, so they ended up shooting each other. And then yeah. Anyway, so at the end of the Seiras fight, what Takumi did was he did his delusion thing again to like turn them back into like 2D characters. And this was the weirdest part of the fight. It was like when he banished them back to the 2D realm, they like turned into like Dakimakura covers and shit. It was fucking weird. So yeah, it was like probably the weirdest anime fight of all time. Yeah, top 10 anime fights of all time. Yeah, anyway. So now after he beat all the Seiras, he arrived at the planetarium, and then that's where we are here. Where Noah 2 is.
私が目指すのはそんなものではありません。悟ったのですよ。この腐った世界を再生するためには、社会のシステムを変えるのではなく、世界中すべての人間の心を変える必要があるのだと。そのためのプロジェクトノアです。ノア2があれば世界中すべての人間から負の妄想を消し去り、清廉な心へと漂白できます。争いは消え、世界に永遠の平和を与えることができます。君も誰かに蔑まれることもなくなるでしょう。
This is reminding me of something. Was it another visual novel or something where like somebody was wanting to do the same thing? Like he wanted to just like make it so nobody would ever be sad ever again or some shit. I can't remember what that was now. His long speech finally came to an end. I almost fell and spent all my energy trying to keep myself upright. I'd been lucky. He'd given me a chance to rest for a little.
あんたの言ってることはもしかしたら正しいかもしれない。
Not that I'd heard all of what he said, but what he was saying was probably best for humanity's future. It was probably a wonderful thing, I thought. Norose was the CEO of a huge company, a good, just man, concerned with the well-being of all humanity. Bruh. I'm afraid Takumi is horribly naive if he thinks CEOs are all good-natured people. Dude, do you know about the statistic where, like, I think it's something like, oh God, yeah, what is it called? Okay, yeah, I think it's like CEOs are like 10 times more likely to have antisocial personality disorder than like the normal population. And basically what that means is they're 10 times more likely to be psychopaths. That's actually a true fact. You can look it up. And I was a monster, a loser, a creepy otaku, just here to save a girl for the sake of my selfish ego. Normally, I'd be the bad guy here. The monster would be defeated, and the good and just would win.
でも僕はあんたには負けられない。
なぜ否定するのです？
ただの自己満足だ。
Because, I mean, like, really, when you think about it, it's not that surprising. Like, imagine being the CEO of, like, a company that has as much sway on, like, the economy and all the shit that goes around in the world, like Amazon or some shit like that. Imagine being the CEO. Like, all that fucking pressure. Like, the only people that can, like, handle that kind of pressure and still live like a kind of a normal, and still, like, you know, at least live like a semblance of a normal life are, like, fucking, like, weirdos who who basically are able to completely sever themselves from, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you really have to kind of, like, separate yourself from like the consequences of like what your decision, like the consequences of your decisions and the impact that it has on people and the world and shit. Because otherwise, like, that's just gonna overwhelm you so much that, like, you know, you just won't be able to take it.
残念です。
Norose kept his eyes on me as he grabbed Rimi by the collar and pulled her down. He reached out toward the strange artwork. And then, in an instant, the thing attached itself to Norose's hand. It was no artwork, no cross to crucify someone on. It was a D-sword, and far too huge to be called a sword. Cruel, cold, spreader of terror, tainted gospel, pandemonium chaos, tyrannical blasphemy, evil, pure and clean, like a gate to hell, stealing away the hearts of all who saw it and trapping them in a cycle of eternal torment. All the world's ills mixed and made manifest. I gulped once in fear, but I'd made my decision to come here. I held the D-sword up. It was still attached to my hand by the string, and I took a step towards Noah 2, which meant getting closer to Norose. The reach of his weapon was far longer than mine.
剣で切り合うような野蛮な行為はあまり得意ではないのですがね。しかし、君からコードサンプルを手に入れる必要があります。そのために無力化しなければ。
Norose was tall, but the blade was far taller than him. He swung it at me with one hand. It was a heavy strike that threatened to crush anything in its path. My arm was slow to respond. Just tensing it up made pain go shooting through it, but I forced myself to raise my arm anyway. Yeah, dude, Ox, that was kind of messed up when they were talking about that. It made that one dude sound like a complete pervert, actually. And I blocked his D-sword. A normal blade would have shattered in pieces from the impact, especially since mine was so thin. It was the opposite of the massive weapon in his hands. But the D-sword didn't break. Somehow I managed to deflect Norose's first attack. My hand went numb. Without a left hand, I couldn't keep my balance. I almost fell backward. It almost knocked me away, but I somehow endured. And blocked his second attack. He was fast, far faster than me. Don't let the way the swords look deceive you, I told myself. A battle of strength, a tiny, delicate sword, and a powerful, vicious one. For now, I was matching him blow for blow, but there was no telling how long that would last. A fourth strike. The swords collided. He changed the way he was holding the blade. It looked like he was holding the grip of the sword tighter. His D-sword began to vibrate. There was an eerie sound as it transformed. The edge of the blade opened like scissors as it raced towards my chest. I realized too late that this change would prove to be a fatal one for me. Resistance. I brought the blade down in front of me, but it was too late. The two ends of the blade stabbed into my chest. A cruel smile appeared on Norose's face. He relaxed his grip, and the two pincers drew closer. They tore through my chest, my ribs, my lungs, my body. I forced myself to take a step back. Norose swung his arm to the side. I saw fresh blood spurt out in front of my eyes. The pain ran through my whole body. I thought my senses had all gone numb, but the pain was so bad I wanted to scream. I clenched my jaw and tried not to pass out. My chest was torn open, sliced into mincemeat. If I hadn't taken that step back, he would have gotten my heart too. Blood spurted everywhere. I almost fell, but I stayed on my feet. I can't die. I can't make it all the way here and then die. I ignored Norose. I headed toward Noah 2, where Rimi was collapsed. Rimi lifted her head just a little to look up at me. She was probably exhausted and weak. She probably couldn't stand. Either from exhaustion or my injuries, my vision was all blurry. I couldn't tell what the expression on her face was. I couldn't look her in the eye. I didn't want her to see me like this, covered in blood, getting my ass kicked. I still had some tiny, miserable sense of pride. I was going to die either way, but it still mattered to me how I looked to her. I kept going toward Noah 2. I was close enough to hit it with my D-sword. Strangely, Norose wasn't following me. And then a melody filled the dome. Bro. That's the shit he was hearing on the phone. Toriance. Noah 2 rose high in front of me. The sound it was making grew higher in pitch. Something strange and unknowable was working within its terrifying mechanisms. I paused for a moment in fear, but then slowly raised the sword to my waist. And then I aimed for the tube-covered, almost organic object in front of me. I swung the sword. Suddenly, I realized Noah 2 had disappeared from my vision. For some reason, I had my back to it. I just tried to destroy it. I hadn't turned away from it at all. But I was facing away from it nonetheless. Norose was in front of me, right where I'd seen Noah 2 in my blurry vision a moment ago. I turned around and swung the D-sword again. But even though I thought I'd turned around, I hadn't. I had the intent to turn around. I'd made the motions to turn around, but I hadn't actually turned around. I was confused.
ノア2の自己防衛機能とでも言うべきものです。
His quiet voice echoed through the dome. It mixed with the melody of Toriance.
近づく者の心に干渉し、意志を歪ませる。ノア2には誰も近寄れません。私以外に。
He finished speaking and walked over to me with steady, elegant steps. He slowly raised the massive D-sword above his head. I grit my teeth. I'd lost too much blood. I couldn't think. But still, I raised my almost entirely numb right hand. My right hand, which could barely move from the pain, and tried to ready myself for his next attack. The D-sword was only tied to my hand with string. The intense impact knocked it away. It went rolling along the floor, far away from where I was. I watched it fly away from me in shock. And when I turned my gaze back to Norose, I could see him chuckling. The melody had changed. It was an unnerving one now, one that seemed to be warning of something.
君の存在を否定してあげましょう。
He was readying his next attack. He was about to bring it down. His D-sword was far too destructive, far too violent, far too powerful. And I was unarmed. I had nothing to block his attack with. I was helpless. Rimi ran between the two of us. I could feel her soft body against my face.
タクを殺さないで。
Rimi's chest. She'd wrapped herself around me. She was protecting me. Norose sighed softly before lowering the blade. Rimi had saved me again, even though I was the one who'd come to save her. I was so pathetic. Frustrated and angry, I slid my right hand between the buttons of her blouse.
タク。
I could feel the warm, slightly rough sensation of the underwear she was wearing. The pain of the wound in my chest. The pain of my severed left arm. The pain of my dislocated right shoulder. The pain of my injured lungs. And the fact that I could barely breathe. The warmth made all of them go away. Rimi's underwear, Rimi's bare skin. I ripped the buttons on the blouse. I tore apart the clothes concealing her body. I exposed her underwear. Bro, are we really, like, going this route now? What the fuck?
タク、やめ。
Rimi twisted her body to get away from me. I clung to her tighter. I didn't let go.
やめてよタク。こんなのやだよ。
I gasped and pulled away from her. I couldn't believe what I had just done. Even after I let go, she covered her chest with her hands, sobbing sadly. She'd tried to save me. Why had I done that? What was I doing? Especially at a time like this? Why was I making her cry?
本当は先畑リミを犯したいんでしょ。
I heard my own voice in my head. I gasped. Why did I gasp? Because the voice was right? Because it had seen through me? And who was the voice? It was me. It was the voice of my heart. My real feelings?
ここで物にしておかないと将軍に寝取られちゃう。
Dude, Shogun's about to die. What the fuck is he talking about? You know what? This is reminding me of the... This is reminding me of that ending with... what's her name in Steins Gate? Yeah, there's this like kind of messed up ending you can get in Steins Gate that's kind of like this. Trying to remember the girl's name. Yeah, it's Suzuha Amane. Yeah. Yeah, there's a Suzuha ending in Steins Gate that's kind of like this, yeah.
あんなしわくちゃ野郎にリミはやられちゃうんだよ。寝取られるなんて嫌じゃねえ。まあ、もうすでにやられちゃってる可能性もあるけどさ。
My true feelings were whispering to me. Stop it. Don't say those things. I don't think any of that stuff. I wanted to put my hands over my ears, but I couldn't. I didn't even have a left hand anymore. Rimi was crying. She was too much of a mess to even fix her clothes. Looking at her made me feel a crushing pain in my heart.
片思いでいいとか綺麗事言ってないでさ。犯しちゃえって。ノロセはそれをする時間ぐらい待ってくれるってよ。どうせ僕はもうすぐ死ぬんだ。恨まれたってへでもないって。やりたいことやって死のうよ。僕のこのかわいそうな境遇ならここでちょっとひどいことやったってしょうがなかったで許されるよ。
This was my delusion, a bad habit of mine. So I needed to make sure I didn't listen, make sure it didn't influence me. My weak heart was trying to lead me to take the bad way out, the easy way out, but right now I couldn't listen to it.
それにリミは僕に同情してくれてた。 それならばむしろやらしてくれるべきだ。おかせ。死ぬ前に童貞捨てようよ。ダメだ！
I yelled to break the weakness in my heart, to blow it away. Fortunately, the voice disappeared. Rimi wasn't crying anymore. She'd been covering her face with her hands, but now she lowered them. She gave me a cold glance of disgust.
つまんない男。
That one word was enough to fill my head with black emotions. I went to throw myself at her when a huge stake burst through the concrete floor. Its pointed tip stabbed right into my crotch. I couldn't understand what was going on. My legs left the floor. I couldn't escape. The stake worked its way deeper and deeper into my body. The pain was unbelievable, but not enough to kill me. The stake kept growing taller until it lifted me a full meter off the ground. The slightest movement caused intense pain in my crotch. I couldn't move an inch. I wanted somebody to save me. I looked down at Rimi with pleading eyes, but she ignored me and walked over to Norose, and then she crouched down like she was exhausted. Both Rimi and Norose were watching me in my ugliness. They were just watching me expressionlessly. Neither tried to help.
知っていますか？かつて拷問刑として串刺しは世界中のあちこちで用いられていました。この拷問の特徴は死ぬまで3日ほどかかるということです。自らの体重によって徐々にその杭は体に食い込んでいく。ポイントは杭の先端はそれほど尖らせないことです。それにより臓器を傷つけることがなくなり、死ぬまでの期間が延びるわけです。最終的に杭の先端が口や肩から突き破れば処刑は終了。見守っていてあげますよ。3日間。あなたが死ぬまでね。彼女も同じ考えのようですし。
Rimi slowly nodded.
もっともその前に胸や腕の傷のせいで失血死に至る方が早いかもしれませんが。
This was a delusion. He was attacking me with a delusion. I kept telling myself that. The real me wasn't being impaled. I was simply standing in front of Noah 2. I was hallucinating. That's what I believed. That's what I had to believe. 3 days. 72 hours. 4,320 minutes. 259,200 seconds. If I could endure that, the delusion would end. It would have to end. It would be so much easier if I could fall asleep or pass out, but unfortunately, I couldn't. The pain wouldn't let me. That's what made this such an effective method of torture. If this kept up, I was going to go crazy. Just a moment ago, I'd been planning to find some way to endure it, but now I felt nothing but despair. The thought of the long hours that waited for me until my death drove away any emotions except despair. I wish he'd just kill me. How much time had passed? There were no clocks around me. I couldn't tell. I wanted to see a clock, but if I did, the slowness of the seconds passing would break me. I grit my teeth. A waterfall of sweat was pouring off my body. My throat felt parched. I quenched it with the blood that would sometimes work its way up from my stomach. Ew, the fuck? And inside my body, I could feel the stake working its way gradually up, digging deeper inside me. I could feel it inside me. It was a countdown to death. At some point, it would work its way up through what remained of my chest, come through my windpipe, and out of my mouth. The pain and fear were making me crazy. Every 5 minutes, I would pass out from the pain and wake up again. What I learned from that was that when I passed out, my body would relax and the stake would go faster. Of course, the pain would get vastly worse, and then the pain would wake me up. I would writhe from the pain, unable to move, and then to escape from it, I'd pass out. This horrible cycle repeated again and again. Even when I was awake, my vision was blurring. For some reason, the pain felt a little better. My vision was dim. I thought that maybe it was night, but there were no windows in the dome. That couldn't be it. It was probably from lack of blood, I thought. There were very small amounts of blood trickling from my chest and my left arm. If only more would come out, I could die an easy death from blood loss before the stake killed me. I had the idea of trying to move my crushed left arm, the one that no longer existed below the elbow. But it wouldn't move. The nerves were probably already dead. Ba 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 ba. Boo 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 boo. Boo ba 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 bo. Bibia ba bia. Was this really a delusion? When would it end? Would it really end? What proof did I have to begin with when I thought it was a delusion? How could I tell it was a delusion? What if it was real? I could endure it all I'd wanted, and I'd still just die. There was no point in trying to endure it all. So why was I doing it anyway? I was a moron. An idiot. A total idiot. Die. I meant that too. It wasn't just something I was saying. I should just die now. I'm sick of the pain. Sick of the suffering. I should just bite my tongue clean off. Then it all would be over. Just let me go. This is a delusion, right?
死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ痛い死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ死ぬ痛い死ぬ死ぬ
More blood came from my chest. I ceased to be able to breathe. No matter how much I tried to suck in oxygen, all I did was make a strange, ridiculous whistling sound with my throat. I could see the stake poking up through the wound in my chest. I spat out blood. I opened my mouth again and again in search of oxygen. I felt relieved. I could die soon.
そろそろですね。
Bro, what happened to the whole like reverse shit, dude? Why can't he just do that shit again? The fuck? I heard Norose's voice. I could sense him right in front of me. But he was nowhere to be seen. My eyes couldn't see anything now. I'd been suffering, impaled on the stake for so long that I'd totally forgotten about him and Remy. Was Remy still nearby? It didn't even matter, though. I was busy trying to breathe. For a while now, I'd been using all of my strength and nerves to do that.
君が無事死ぬ前に彼女を始末しておきましょう。
I didn't understand what he was saying. I didn't have time to think.
私を殺すの？
へえ、そういうことです。遺言をどうぞ。
ごめん、タク。タクのこと助けてあげられなかった。
I could hear her dying screams. I heard the sound of somebody falling. She'd been shot and killed, I thought. I felt no emotion. I was too busy. I went back to my job, trying to breathe. And then I was stunned at myself. What was the point of this? Why was I trying so hard to breathe? This wasn't fair. I felt something hot run down my cheeks. Maybe I was crying, but I had no way to know. I'd hung in there for 3 days, and I was almost to the end, and I'd lost her. I'm sorry, Remy. I'm the one who should apologize. I couldn't protect you. There was no sense in living anymore. I released all the tension in my body. I could feel myself sinking faster. Something was in my throat. I couldn't breathe at all. It was rising up. I came back to my senses. The sense of having something inside my body disappeared. I wasn't impaled. The only blood was on my chest and left arm. How much of that had been a delusion? My brain's processing speed couldn't keep up. I couldn't understand what was going on. Norose was in front of me, D-sword held high.
帰ってきましたか。あなたが体験した3日間は現実では1秒しか経っていませんが。
やっぱり妄想。
Oh my god. This is like Interstellar now. I whispered, relieved. Norose's D-sword came down like a hurricane. My top half fell away from my bottom half. My vision tilted. From the waist down, I was still standing. From the waist up, I was falling. My body had been sliced in two. The cut was unbelievably clean.
Huh?
I stared at my lower half, confused. I didn't want to admit this could be real. Was this a delusion? I hoped it was a delusion. Please be a delusion. Rimi was calling my name. She sounded so sad.
その状態でも死ぬまで数分は持つはずです。元医師である私が言うのだから確かですよ。その間にコードサンプルを取ることにしましょうか。
I crawled. I moved my body forward using just my right hand towards Rimi's voice. I wanted to touch her. I had to save her. Rimi. Right hand. Forward. 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 I stretched it out. But I didn't know where Rimi was. I couldn't reach her. I couldn't reach anyone.
しぶとい男だ。
Crunch. The sound of cracking bones. Norose's leather shoe had come down hard on my extended right hand.
さすが化け物と言うべきですか。
そのノロセの足が蜃気楼のように揺れた。床のタイルの模様がぼんやりとし始めて、天地が回転する。床と天井が逆になる。僕は天井に這いつくばっている。両断された腰からものすごい勢いで血が噴き出す。全開にした蛇口のように血が体から抜けていく。そのまま腕の傷口を通って内臓までが流れ出る。意識がスーッと遠くなる。でも完全には途切れない。血だまりができて、僕はその深紅の海に身を横たえている。ドクン ドクンと鼓動する心臓が僕の目の前に転がっていて、血だまりに波紋を作り、その波紋をぼんやり見ていたら、僕の形が崩れた。人としての形を維持できない。僕と世界との境界が消失する。肉が溶け、骨がゴムのように曲がり、眼球は四角になり、口から裏返った灰がこぼれ出し、神経は数万キロメートルも引っ張られ、脳はシワの一つ一つを丁寧に伸ばされ、体はブヨブヨになる。空気に溶けていく。右手が糸のように伸びて、プラネタリウムを出ていく。それは飴細工のように渋谷の空をさまよってコーネリアスタワーにくるくる巻きつく。何度も何度も何度も。分かれた足が膨れてる。ブクブクと水風船みたい。パンパンに皮膚が伸びて、ギチギチ音を立ててる。液状か。肉も骨もとろけてふくらはぎに溜まってる。腰からニョキって小さな頭が生えて、ぎょろりとした白い目が僕を見たよ。そしたら僕の頭がぐしゃって潰された。どっちの頭かはよくわかんない。潰れてトロトロになって、ビルの床、コンクリートの分子の隙間を抜けて、落ちていく。地上へビューって地面に作るどろりとした脳みその水たまり。もぞもぞもごもごジュルジュルドロドロプルプルビヨンビヨンビチャビチャぐじゅぐじゅぐちゃりぐちゃり。僕は二つになる。二つが四つになる。四つが八つになる。八つが四つに。二つが八つに。四つが四つに。どんどん増えて、どんどん減る。僕がいっぱい。僕がいない。僕は何？ 僕って何？何って僕？僕？何？何区がナボに？ナボボになくぼな。
君は妄想なんかじゃないよ。
れだ。
見てごらん。
西条七海が祈る。
Dude is like becoming one with the fucking universe or some shit, dude.
兄と共に収容された病院。怪我人があふれた待合室の片隅にうずくまり、実の兄のしわくちゃの手を握りしめて、右手の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。もう一人の兄の無事を。楠木優愛が祈る。倒壊したビルの瓦礫。そこに埋もれるように横たわるコンテナの中で、彼の美少女フィギュアの一つを握りしめて、地震と火事で醜く変形してしまったフィギュアたちの姿に感じた胸の痛みに耐え、目を閉じて祈る。彼女を許してくれた少年の無事を。岸本綾瀬が祈る。避難所となっている水明学園。その校舎の屋上で空を見上げて、神話が書かれた文庫本を握りしめて、崩壊した渋谷を覆う不特定多数の妄想が見せる悪意の痛みに耐え、目を閉じて祈る。彼女の歌を、彼女の話を聞いてくれた少年の無事を。折原梢が祈る。新鮮駅の薄暗いホーム。青井瀬名の震える手を握りしめて、足の傷の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。心の声で語り合ったクラスメートの少年の無事を。青井瀬名が祈る。
Ayo, Zane.
横たわる父の傍らに座り、父の冷たくなった手を握りしめて、最後まで素直になれなかった後悔の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。彼女のお願いに不器用ながら応えようとしてくれた少年の無事を、咲畑りみが祈る。冷たい床に横たわりながら、彼へ伸ばした自らの手をきつく握りしめて、傷だらけの彼の姿を見て感じた 締め付けられるような胸の痛みに耐えて。
Well, there you go. That's the 7 nights. These 6 and then Takumi. It's the 7 nights.
目を閉じて祈る。自分が守ろうとした自分を助けに来てくれた少年の無事を。
僕は何もできなかった。君が行動したんだ。その結果としてみんなが君のことを見てきた。君という周囲共通認識はとっくに出来上がっているんだ。これからは、いや、もうすでに君こそが。
僕は、君は誰？僕はその声が聞こえた瞬間に意識が僕を固定した。
Man, what about that whole deal like at the very beginning when like Remy kills him? Like, does that actually happen?
ぐちゃぐちゃにかき回されていた世界が一気に収束する。混沌は僕の理想像を形作って収束する。僕は僕としての形に戻る。
Flood? Was there a flood? I don't remember that part.
世界は世界としての形に戻る。僕は僕だ。
My vision became clear again. My wounds were healed. My top and bottom were connected once more. I was standing on my own 2 feet. The pain was completely gone. My heart was completely at peace.
妄想によく打ち勝ったね。僕の最後の力を君に託すよ。
I could see Remy in the corner of my vision. She was safe. She was looking at me. She was crying. Don't cry. I gripped the D-sword's handle. I held it tight. I felt its sensation in my hands. My arms were moving. They were completely restored.
これは実に興味深いですよ。この化け物。
I looked straight at Norose.
確かに僕は化け物だよ。でもこれが
To save Remy, to destroy Noah too.
僕が望んだ妄想だ。
Norose's response was fast. He still didn't have Takumi Nishijo's code sample. He thought he'd pushed the boy to the brink, with a delusion attack, but now the tables had almost completely turned. He couldn't let that happen. Norose charged. He brought his D-sword up from below. He sliced it across Takumi's chest. The D-sword could cut through anything. It didn't matter what it was. Cutting through a human was no more difficult than cutting through jelly. Norose's lightning-fast attack had sliced Takumi in two. But there was no blood. Takumi's lower half almost fell, but it didn't. It was still standing. And in the next moment, it regenerated, uninjured, as if it never happened. And then he regenerated. The body that had been sliced apart just a second ago had already grown a new head, a new right arm, and a new right shoulder.
痛覚は遮断した。
Takumi took a step towards Norose. Norose grimaced. He flipped the D-sword over.
肉体の形を捨てたがゆえに、いかなる形をも取れるということですか。
あんたの見せてくれた妄想のおかげだよ。
He hadn't been able to maintain his shape as a human, but he had taken that delusion and made it his own. He wasn't regenerating, he was replenishing. I mean, isn't that pretty much the same thing? The lost parts were made from the infinitely multiplying dust inside him, formed into flesh and bones. His shape wasn't fixed. Like an amoeba, like a slime, he could change it to be whatever he wanted. That was the reason Takumi had called himself a monster. His legs took another step toward Norose. Norose's frustration increased. He held the grip of his D-sword and stabbed it out towards the approaching Takumi. The huge scissors stretched out towards either side of the boy's head.
脳を失えば妄想はできないでしょう。
He crushed it, as one would smash a watermelon. Blood spurted everywhere. But Takumi's body kept going forward. The regeneration, replenishing, only took an instant. When his foot touched the ground, as if nothing had ever happened. As if it had been replaced with a new one. His head was there and undamaged. Norose understood. He couldn't win. No physical attacks with his D-sword would be effective. His enemy had taken his delusion attack, his attempt to deny their existence, and turned it to their advantage. In this moment, Takumi Nishijo was so far beyond human, so twisted an existence, so perfect a monster. But Norose couldn't give up. He thought of using Noa2's power to blast Takumi with countless antiparticles. Nothing could withstand collision with antiparticles without turning into negative matter and collapsing in on itself. If destruction from outside was impossible, then he would have to destroy his foe from the inside.
そうなんだね。
Takumi had read Norose's thoughts. The light of Takumi's D-sword changed from red to black. Black flames shrouded the blade. It roared. It stretched out. It was as if it was a huge black snake.
そして現れるのよ。
It wandered the room, too big for the dome. It scraped against the roof. It scraped up against the floor, as if it was eating away at them both, devouring them.
邪神の黒き大蛇。あらゆる崩壊を飲み込み、邪神王の身を砕くことのできる。同質にして異質なるもの。
The snake's body was composed of antiparticles. Particles which could cause anything they touched to collapse in on itself. It was an all-devouring torrent of destruction.
触手芸はあんまり好みじゃないけど。
What the fuck? Takumi swung the D-sword where he stood. He pointed the tip at Norose. Yeah, it needed that tip, right? Yeah, right. I don't know, even if I already know what it is, I still want to read what they say about it. The circling snake snapped its body like a whip, and its jaw bit down on Norose.
まさかこれほどとは。
Norose had never seen a D-sword do something like this. He couldn't tell if this was Takumi's delusion or some hidden gigalomaniac power. The black fangs were eating away at his body. He was falling apart. But it was so slow, like a frog slowly being devoured in the belly of a snake. The darkness was slowly swallowing him up. He felt no pain. Death should have been instant. But Takumi didn't want that. Norose realized this and laughed bitterly. He wasn't afraid of death. His ideal, the completion of Noah 2, was at hand.
私を殺してもノア2には誰も近づけない。永久期間なんですよ、それは。
Perpetual motion machine. No external energy input. And perpetual motion machines do not actually exist in real life.
人類を未来永劫にわたって管理し続ける。ただ座して眺めているだけではない、人の幸福のために干渉してくる人工の神なのです。
Ugh. In a way, Norose was the creator of a god. As long as Noah 2 existed, humanity would not go extinct. Norose's utopia would be realized. The heck is a... You're asking what a perpetual motion machine is? Basically, the idea is it's a machine that through its own machinations feeds itself the energy that it needs to run forever. In perpetuum. But there's, yeah. It's theoretical. You can't actually create a machine that does that. But
あんたなら近づけるんでしょ。
the snake holding Norose began to move. It raised his body up high.
それならあんたは鍵だ。
Norose's expression was one of pure shock, but it quickly changed into one of pain. The snake flung his body around in a circle like it weighed nothing. Takumi gave a quick glance at Rimi. Their eyes met. What was she thinking right now? It would be easy to read her mind, but Takumi didn't. Looks like I was able to save you. He quickly looked away. His gaze was now fixed on Noah 2, still emitting its roar. The seed of God, which none could approach. A cradle that showed happy dreams.
ごめん。
He whispered to no one in particular.
僕は人類にとっての敵かもね。
This machine would create an eternal paradise. I don't know, this whole thing is like a real moral dilemma. Because it's like, is creating an eternal paradise worth the cost of literally stealing everybody's free will away from them and manipulating everybody's minds into conclusions that they would have never reached of their own free will? Anprim? I don't know what that means. A future without conflict. And now Takumi was about to ruin that future. Whether it was wrong or right, Takumi didn't know.
でも神話でもよくあるでしょ。
Well, now wait a sec. Shouldn't you at least decide if it's right or wrong before doing it? Like, come on, man.
神だって女絡みでうだうだやってる。だから僕も。
Sacrificing humanity's happiness for the sake of a girl he loved. Takumi drew the hand which held his D-sword back behind his body.
突き破れ！
And then thrust it forward like a spear. The black snake charged forward in a straight line. Its prey, Norose, was impaled on its fangs as it raced towards Noah 2. A spear of pure antiparticles. It had no will of its own, thus there was nothing for Noah 2 to disrupt. The all-encompassing torrent of destruction used Norose as its key and easily broke through the delusion barrier. Wait, the D sword shattered? So does that mean he failed? Here we go. Okay, I'm not going to be able to read this as fast as it's going, so you're going to have to read this yourself. Good Lord. I mean, they're giving you barely enough time to even just read it like by yourself. Wait, Zane, are you saying that to Norose, or are you saying that like you're leaving the stream now? Oh, that was Norose's D sword. Okay.
「あなたを見つめる妄想」殺してあげる。
Yeah, but hold on. Why is she, like, killing him now? Even after the whole story, I still don't understand why she would do that. Turn down text speed? I don't think I can. Is there a... I don't know. Big text setting? I mean, I've already got it almost all the way down. Oh yeah, I can read backlog. Okay, I didn't think about that. Do y'all want me to go back and like read through everything it just did out loud, or are y'all good? You missed some? Okay, I can go back and read it. Let's see, where did it start? Okay, it started right here. At some point, it must have started to rain. There was a violent explosion. The shockwave picked me up like a rag doll and set me flying. The next thing I knew, I was here. Those eyes were always watching me. Their gaze passed through the thick black rain clouds. You'll need a guide? Yeah, doesn't surprise me that you would say that, because I remember in Steins Gate, some of the endings I could figure out how to get on my own, but there were at least a couple of them that it was just like there was no fucking way you were gonna get the exact combination of all the choices you had to make unless you looked that shit up. I mean, you would literally be sitting there forever trying every single possible like combination of choices to try and get those those endings. So, yeah. But I am going to at least try to get some endings without a guide on this. So, um, so yeah. Anyway, where was I? Their gaze passed through the thick black rain clouds and came down on me like rain. Don't look at me. More than the rain's chill, the cold of the rubble beneath my back made my body shiver endlessly. It's so, so cold. And the gaze that bored into me from above the sky, whose it was, I don't know. I lifted my head a little and looked around, seeking a way to escape it. I saw the shattered remains of a city. I saw despair. I saw death. I saw nothingness. Nobody was there. Nobody was moving. Nobody was alive. Was the rain going to keep falling until it washed away everything, the living and the dead? Until it had gently submerged everything and swept it away? A part of me hoped this was all just a simple delusion, but I guess I wasn't so lucky. My body refused to move. The only things I could move were my head and my eyes, and just barely at that. I couldn't use the monstrous power I'd used just a moment ago. My body was shaking, but that was just an involuntary reflex. It wasn't my will. I didn't want my body to shake. If my body wouldn't listen to me, then it wasn't really my body at all. Maybe it never listened to me in the first place. Nobody knows where the soul is really kept after all. So who could be sure that my soul was really inside this body? But if that was the case, then where was I? Was I here? Was I nowhere? In this broken world where nothing moved, I suddenly heard a sound that wasn't the rain of death. A single someone came out from the nothingness. Who are you? Do you look so pale because you're cold? Or because you're dead? But she wasn't shivering, and her eyes, which were hidden almost completely beneath her bangs, don't look at me. They looked so sad, but they also seemed filled with madness. They seemed like they weren't seeing anything at all. If maybe the only things in this world were her and me, and we kept looking at one another like this forever, would my world be only what was reflected in her eyes? And would her world be only what was reflected in my eyes? In her eyes, I was reflected. In my eyes, she was reflected. When I thought about it that way, the world suddenly seemed so much smaller. Suddenly, I heard static that sounded so pretty. Her head fell forward, and she spread out her hands, as if she was about to take flight towards those rain clouds, or as if she were trying to take all the rain into her hands. The delusion that stares at you, with her head bent forward. I couldn't see the look on her face from where I lay. What do you look like behind the veil of rain between us? An angel? Are those wings of light a blessing upon me? Or, oh, now I see. I understand. You're going to use that to kill me, aren't you? Slowly, she dropped to her knees in front of me. She was still bent forward. She embraced my head gently. I felt relieved that she wasn't looking at me, and let her take me into her arms.
殺さなくちゃいけないの。ごめん。ごめんね。
I still don't get it. Like, why? Well, but that's the thing, like, even if she was killing him so that he wouldn't, like, suck the life out of Shogun anymore, like, Shogun's about to die anyway. Like, what even is the point? Bad ending because we haven't gotten the true ending. That's why. There's got to be a true ending that we have to unlock. But I mean, holy fuck, dude. That was just fucked up, dude. Like, goddamn, who came up with this shit? I don't know. I mean, that ending, the whole thing with Norose, just, I mean, it was just so absurd. like, I almost couldn't even take it seriously anymore. It got so absurd. Silent Sky End, which is ending A, apparently. Makes sense. I mean, we got like probably the common ending or whatever or the basic ending. Why did what's her face twin sister have her parents stop caring about her after she died? What? Other endings explain a lot of things. Okay, does this does this visual novel have endings associated with each character like Steins Gate did? Like there was like a Mayushi ending and and a a, a Makise ending, and you know all the different girls had their own endings. Does this have 6 character endings? Okay. Well, I have an idea for how to go about trying to get the character endings. I mean, I imagine it's not as straightforward as what I'm thinking, but we can't date real talk. No, dude, imagine if there was a Momose route. Ugh. Alright, well, we've unlocked a bunch of stuff. Wow. There wasn't even an epilogue or anything. It's just boom. That was fucking it, man. Damn. Yeah, I really do hope the other endings explain shit, because there's still a lot of fucking shit I just don't get. Like, like what was... Okay, this has been in the back of my mind the entire time I've read through this since this happened. What was the deal with that one really brief scene where Takumi woke up in the middle of the night and, like, plotted to do that one new gen murder? Remember that? Remember he was like sleepwalking and shit, and he was gonna like commit that new gen murder? Like, what was that about? Oh, I don't remember which one. It was, I can't even remember, like, I don't know. He just like woke up in the middle of the night and he like went to his computer, and I can't remember. He like typed something in a chat or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what he did, but it kind of like, I thought the implication was that like at least one of the new gen murders was like because he was sleepwalking, and yeah. I think he just typed whose eyes are those. Well, even so, like, what was the point of that scene? Like, I thought, I don't know. Was the point of that scene just to like confuse you, to like throw you off and make you think like Takumi was the new gen killer? Was that the... I mean, maybe that was the point of that scene, I don't know. Oh, man. Yeah. Dude, this visual novel is like actually insane. Did we ever see that D-sword? To the right. Oh, this thing? Yeah, that was that Kazupi's D-sword? I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, no, I see what you're talking about. Now, we saw that. Okay, it was an Anami's D-sword. My bad. I'm sorry, I still haven't gotten the different D-sword designs and yeah, that's right. Kazupi has the one that like looks like a fucking block or something. Actually, yeah, it's this one over here to the left of the building. This one. It doesn't even look like a sword, it just looks like a rectangle. Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I think that is going to be it for tonight. So now that we have completed our first playthrough of Chaos Head Noah, the time has come for route hunting. Everybody's favorite part of visual novels. Hunting for the different character routes and shit. So yeah, that will commence in 2 days. So, yeah, Sunday I will start doing the route hunting. And, yeah, because tomorrow, I'm going to stream. I'm gonna get back to doing the God of War DLC again, so that will be tomorrow. And then, yeah, and then Sunday we will try to hunt for the next route. So we get to rizz up the various girls in this visual novel. I'm getting chat errors? What? What do you mean you're getting chat errors? On your main? Oh, I forgot. You're Ox, aren't you? Okay. You missed Sora's stream for a bad ending. Well, hey man, at least it was an ending. Is she actually streaming right now? Mokoko is still streaming. Oh no. Dude, Crony is now streaming Outer Wilds. That's too funny. It's like, dude, maybe the Hololive girls are watching my streams in secret. Cause now that I have streamed Outer Wilds, now Fauna and now Crony are streaming Outer Wilds. It's like, I'm influencing the Hololive. My channel is the true ending. Dude, I swear to God, Nene Amano is always streaming, dude. I swear. I mean, I literally think more than half of her life is spent streaming. It's insane how much Nene Amano streams. Ugh. Hachima, maybe? Why the fuck would Hachima watch my stream? Shit. Let's see. What was I? Oh yeah, I was gonna look up Sora. Sora. Nope, she is not streaming right now. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, see, it says she ended the stream 42 minutes ago. So, yeah. Well, we gotta hurry up and get through all the routes of Chaos Head Noah, so that once I have completed them, all the Hololive girls will start streaming Chaos Head. Shit. Bro, I just had a thought. Imagine Shiori streaming Chaos Head. Dude, that would be nuts. Actually, if Shiori streamed Chaos Head, I would glue myself to my computer watching her every minute of every stream. Oh God, please no. Alright. Obligatory watch party. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get off now, so, yeah. Come check me out again tomorrow night, where I will, get back to God of War. I'm hoping that I can beat the final, tier fight here in the next couple streams. Not sure. We'll see. Wait, what am I waiting for? Route, yes. 2 days we're doing the route hunting on Chaos Head. See, that's the thing, like, I would say the majority of visual novels, it's like actually pretty easy to like figure out how to get different routes. Like, remember on Magikoi? Like, Magikoi was really straightforward. All you had to do was get each of their like little dots down to 0, and then you would enter their route. And all you had to do was like click them on the character select screen. So I mean, that was like very straightforward. But I know from playing Steins Gate that these visual novels that like Mages Nitro Plus or whatever makes, they are not like that. They are very specific, like route, like choices that you have to make to get certain endings. So, I mean, like I said, I do have an idea of what we can do to try and hunt for routes, but I don't know how well it's gonna work. So we'll see. So. Perform rituals. Yeah. Hell, I almost feel like with this visual novel, you perform the rituals in the visual novel itself, and then you get the other routes. Anyway. Alright, anything else, Ox, before I step off? Nope. Alright, man. Well, I will see y'all tomorrow. We'll do some God of War. Have a good night. This is like perfect music to end a stream on. Ooh, the suspense. Ooh. I just left it on that do 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 do. And that's it. The suspense. Oh my god. I can't just end the stream on that, can I?